conference has grown to 700 people in this edition. We have more than 40 masterclasses and sessions happening across the 2 days.
We celebrate all the donors and we celebrate all the museums that are named after this donor and that donor, this hospital, that hospital. But who's talking about the fundraisers who raise the money for that hospital or that museum or that school or that college? There's a whole group of people who are doing that work, right? So we need to celebrate the fundraising profession. We need to build the fundraising profession for India.
Funders, ecosystem builders. It's a celebration of the important role, the pivotal role that fundraising really plays to be able to strengthen any organization in India's social sector.
Just like you can buy a car and without fuel, it will stop, in the middle of the road. Without fundraising, all our good intents come to naught. And so if we really have great programs, we need to build in fundraising capacity. And therefore, this is completely aligned with the vision of what we have for great societal change.
Reality is fundraisers are leaders. Fundraisers have a seat at the table and they are absolutely critical to any non-profit or an impact organization's success.
The role of the fundraiser is sometimes seen as a diplomat, bringing different parties together, as will be the fundraiser. But the beautiful part there is to align them and to really focus on purpose. What do we really want to achieve together here? And from that perspective, forming a partnership based on mutual respect, based on mutual vision, and there each player has a very important role to play.
In the social sector, it's because there is a purpose to it. It's not acquiring money for the sake of it. It's not about the thrill of the hunt. You make more money, you release these funds. There is a mission to it. And the mission is that money and resources have to flow to the grassroots organizations. So when that purpose is all encompassing, then fundraising becomes an exciting exercise instead of something that's very nerve-wracking.
And most people become fundraisers because they are passionate about changing something in the world.
When you're asking for money for yourself, that would be very hard to do. When you're asking for money for something that you really care about, for an organization and beneficiaries who you really care about, you really believe in what the organization is doing, it's much easier to do.
The fundraising is the fundamental base for building these connections between us and our donors, aligning our missions, building this value and trust, and all of this is done within the relationships.
So fundraising is not just raising money. I think most people stop with that. I think it's much more than that. It's also about how you manage the money. It's also how you hold yourself accountable to ensure that the money is spent for the reason it's been raised for.
And I keep talking about Gandhiji as being the best fundraiser India's ever had. And he didn't talk about money ever, but he created purpose. He inspired people to follow him. Funds should be the resultant of a bunch of things that you do, but fundraising isn't about money.
Yeah, just like we say, brand first, funding second. We have to reject the old idea that, the first thing we do is go and chase donors. That's not been so effective for many of us. I think the first thing we have to do is get clear on our brand, our identity, our strategy. I didn't say it in the talk today, but in my book, I say, if the word brand scares you, call it strategy, clarity, identity, unity. Call it whatever you want as long as you do it.
coming to a space like the IFRC allows us to meet with different collaborators, practitioners in the space, and really enhance the quality of work that we're all trying to do.
I think the facilities are fabulous, and I think that the whole process of, as a speaker being invited and being brought in here, etc., I think has worked very well.
I think the India Fundraising Conference is India's premier conference on fundraising for the non-profit sector in India today. It's definitely been hugely successful now. It's in its 4th year.
I've loved this opportunity of coming to IFRC. It's my first time in India. It's been wonderful to meet so many delegates from different organizations in the country. And I think the beauty of international fundraising conferences is what we can learn from each other in different countries as well.
As we wrap up IFRC, it's an incredible feeling of multiple emotions. We're very humbled by the response we've got. We're delighted to see the excitement that people have for space like this. And I'm sure that as we look ahead, it's just going to get bigger and better.
ILSS really has forever been a platform. We always get by with a lot of help from our friends. A lot of what we do is because a lot of friends and people, like-minded people, have come together in this journey to support our work, to support each other's work, to support the work in the social impact sector. So really a moment to thank all our partners who've come together to share their learnings, share their wisdom through IFRC for the larger audience to benefit from.